Go.
Alrighty, new gaming order. This is like the fat, the meat and potatoes of tonight's podcast, and mainly is Gamescom and highlights and wrap up. So we're pretty much not gonna hit everything because there's just too much. But I wanted to say first and foremost, Phil Spencer is best for business. That man took the Xbox brand, turned it around. Dan Matrick, that guy, man, he was gonna kill Xbox. So he's taking the division in the right direction. And man, I was very impressed with what they had on display. Now, I had asked the panel earlier, how come Sony wasn't there? I guess they skipped it. They're probably gonna do something at TGS. Or maybe something completely different, like their own thing, like Nintendo.
We're talking about Paris Games Week or something like that.
Yeah, so I mean, with that, Microsoft, man, dropped like a lot of bombs. Now, what stood out for me was some of these games that the exclusives. Like, I wasn't a big fan of Crackdown. I was big on the first one. The second one kind of was ass to me, and now you got Crackdown 3, which is supposed to be using the promised cloud computing, which is supposed to double, triple, or quadruple the computing power of the Xbox One. And it's 4-player co-op. The city is 100% destructible. I said, man, that's a tall promise. To, imagine if the new Gaming Order staff is out there, teaming up and trying to take down bad guys, drug lords, or whatnot, and then we're just busting things up. That sounds like a lot of fun. I think that Microsoft really is starting to hit that stride. They stumbled out the gates with the launch, but now they're doing some things that I'm like, man, cloud computing. If they start implementing this into the rest of their games, that's going to be something. Another thing that stood out for me was Dark Souls 3. I don't normally play Dark Souls. I have it installed, but On Your Knees normally plays that on the stream where he got killed by that dragon and he had the Bob Barker music and all that, But I mean, that you got Quantum Break, and I'm glad that got delayed. Take all the time you need to get that game out, because that's gonna be a killer app right there, And I think it's gonna definitely move systems, next holiday season. So with that, I just wanted to give somebody else the floor. We can start with Brother Noop. If you were checking out the Gamescom, what are some things that stood out from the conference?
I watched day 1 and I didn't watch day 2 yet. It was a very smart and strategic move by Microsoft. On the low, and this is just my own little theory, I feel like they could have revealed and did some of that stuff at E3, but they didn't, because now Gamescom is smaller and it's more focused. You're not looking at a whole bunch of different other companies, and you're not trying to keep up with all the other crap that's going on. It was a strong focus on them, and they're living up to a promise that they made, because they've been talking a lot about first party. We want to put out more first party titles, which is the bloodline, I think, of your console, really, because that's the only thing that separates one console from another is the first party titles, like Nintendo with Mario. You got God of War and Uncharted series with Sony, and then you have Halo, you got Forza, things like that. So Microsoft, I think they still need to push, because Master Chief is getting stale, so they need to really push and get that next title out there. Scalebound was very impressive, especially for that. I think me and Shinwar were talking about it. I think that was pre-alpha footage, and that was pretty freaking good. They have a chance to really, 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 really rock the gaming world if that game comes out right. And if you're going to make it 4-player co-op, it needs to be difficult, and it needs to be lengthy, man. Like, I want like an action RPG. I'm talking about, like, I want like a 20, 30-hour experience. Think Darksiders. I want that type of experience with that game. Not, oh, you beat the game in 8 hours. Well, beat it again and do this. Beat it again and do that. No, I want a lengthy campaign with unlockables and customizable dragons. But other than that, Microsoft did exactly what they've been doing since they came out. They come out, they try to innovate, we reject it. And then they say, okay, we'll just give you games. Fine, here you go. That's what they
Mhm.
always do. They did on 360 with the Kinect and all the other stuff. Remember Kinect with Milo and all that stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
And we were like, what the hell is that? We don't want that. And they said, okay. And they
Mhm.
started shoving games down our throat. And now they're doing it again. So I'm very, very happy. And another thing I really like about them, the staff members like, Phil Spencer, they're very involved and they're excited about it themselves. And
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
tell that they're gamers. They're gamers too.
Yeah.
And that's what I think makes the difference.
Yeah, and there was a YouTuber that actually talked about the executives should be gamers themselves. They should understand it from our perspective and what we want. And it shouldn't just be like investors out there that's just about the damn money, you know? But I wanted to caveat on Scalebound. Doesn't it look like a mixture of Devil May Cry, Monster Hunter, and another like Fantasy Star Online?
It's like all, yeah.
You know, like I was trying to think of that earlier, but I mean that's Scalebound by Platinum Games. Those responsible for Bayonetta, old Devil May Cry games.
Xbox One exclusive.
Now you see, me and Shinwar were talking about this earlier, where it's something where that's an Xbox IP that they outsource to Platinum Games to make their game. So if folks are saying, well, Platinum Games made it, it should be multi-console. No, that's not the case. It's a first-party title. It's going to stay there. Just putting it out there. All right, so, Khalif, what stood out from the convention this year that, caught your eye?
Well, I mean, it was a lot of good stuff, man. I don't want to go too long, but I'm gonna try to make it as short as possible.
Okay.
But, man, just straight up about Microsoft, man. Straight up, that was the best probably conference they've had since Xbox One's come out. That blew every other conference they had out of the water, hands down.
Mm-hmm.
I loved what I saw from Crackdown. I loved what I saw from Scalebound. I liked what I saw a lot from what was that other game they had? Man, I lose my mind. But anyway, it was just a good show, man. It was a lot of good stuff that they showed.
Mm-hmm.
Besides Xbox, just exclusive. I liked Mafia 3 was real good. I like what I saw from that.
Mm-hmm.
More Metal Gear footage, more Just Cause 3 footage. It was a lot of good stuff. Oh, that's what I was thinking about. Microsoft with this games preview program.
Yeah.
Are really hitting it out of the park with that games preview, because they're getting I don't know if you guys know about Ark, Survival Instinct, whatever that dinosaur simulator kind of thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're getting that for the games preview in this winter, and they're getting another game called We Happy Few. This game, I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but this looks like the second coming kind of BioShock. When I see it, I think BioShock. It's fantastic what they're doing with their games preview program. I think the Xbox
smart move. That's very smart.
Yeah, it's real smart, and I keep I'm real kind of skeptical about how this is gonna go, because with them being just kind of stomped in the sales, because looking at the sales numbers right now, I don't even think they're halfway of what PlayStation's selling. But you gotta respect what they're doing. You gotta like what they're doing. Mm-hmm. No matter if you're a fanboy or whatever, you gotta respect what Microsoft is doing. Well, I should really say, I feel like Phil Spencer single-handedly is doing this, man, because there's like you gotta. Phil Spencer is the man right now. Without Phil Spencer,
he saved the brand. I'm telling you, that idiot that they had to fire. Man. Oof.
It's single-handedly. It seems like Phil Spencer is turning this around,
mm-hmm.
and it's amazing what they're doing. And I hope it keeps going.
Mm-hmm. Now, New Gaming Order audience, Khalif made a good point some time back. Microsoft has made leaps and bounds efforts, bending over backwards to try to reverse everything that the momentum. If they can't make a turnaround by this holiday season or the next, they're not going to catch up.
How many podcasts have I said that already? I've been saying,
and I was giving you credit for that, because
if they don't, there's no reason in the world why they should not, win November, December. They should win at least those 2 months. I mean,
well,
if they don't,
with Halo 5 coming out
in October,
yeah,
and Halo 5 console. Ooh, wait.
That does look good. I like the Master Chief. Yeah, the Master Chief, the controller they put out too. There's a green one that I think they're trying to do a limited condition controller. So, if they don't outsell PlayStation this holiday, there's just no way they're gonna catch up.
I don't think they're gonna outsell. They can close the gap because the fanboys, like, if you compare this game con to anything that Sony has put out from their E3 to now, it's not that ambitious. It's not as ambitious as Microsoft is putting out there. This is just me completely stripping everything like what my preferences. Look at what Microsoft is doing, leaps and bounds, and merging like the PC media and console media. It's just and all the exclusives. They're going in with trying to close the gap.
To me, and I'm gonna close this out with this. To me, it's not too much. To me, it's not too much about the games because of this reason. Everybody has their own opinion. You know what I mean? I might like some games, you may like. Shinwar may like some games, I may not like, vice versa. Everybody has their own, kind of preference of games. If you throw all the games out of the window and you just look at how Microsoft has been attacking, I respect that more than Sony kind of like playing the laid back role. Because to me right now, even really not just right now, it's during E3 I felt like they weren't really pushing the issue like they should. I feel like Sony should just keep their foot on their throat. Put the foot on their throat. Keep the pedal to the metal and don't give no wiggle room.
Yeah, I got you.
They're playing. They're playing to say they don't go to Gamescom. When is the last time you've seen that? When you don't, and I get
they're in the lead, so they got this. I got this type mode.
I kind of get it. I kind of get that they don't. I get their reasoning because their reasoning that they put out was they didn't want to put out too much information. Because E3 just happened in June. You got Gamescom in August, so they don't want to put the information out too close together. But you want to put your foot on their throat. You want to keep the pedal to the metal. You don't want Microsoft to get any leverage, and they've had the momentum. For me anyway, they've had the momentum trucking since E3. Even really before E3, with all these price drops and these bundles that they're doing. It would really baffle me if people don't jump on that Xbox hype train this holiday season.
All right.
Now I'm close it out with that.
And I'm gonna switch the order. Shinwar, what your thoughts on what were the highlights from Gamescom that caught your eye?
The highlights obviously were Scalebound, Halo 5, Crackdown. You know what's funny about Crackdown? I played 1 and I was like, it's okay. I didn't really get into 2, but when I saw 3 and the dude was standing on the roof and just shooting the building, I was like, yo, but the way they showed it was like a grand scale, and I was like, yo, this looks kind of tight. I might have to jump on it. And then they were like, the buildings are only destructible in co-op mode. So I was like, all right, yeah, that looked real good. Microsoft is definitely on the right track. I was sold on Scalebound, even from like the CG trailer from last year, but the gameplay was definitely nice. Did they show Tomb Raider?
I don't think so.
I think that was another game, but it looked like Tomb Raider. It was another game.
They had some behind the scenes like tombs that they were doing. I think like some behind closed doors stuff, but I don't think nothing at the conference.
Oh, and go ahead.
Yeah, I think this Gamescom, it was pretty much like a Microsoft Xbox show. Sony pulling out, and obviously no Nintendo. So, Microsoft really, did their best to make it their show, obviously, and that was the only console and games everybody's talking about because there was nobody else. So, yeah, it was cool. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to this holiday season and the coming months and next year holiday season.
Okay. Before I give Goken the floor, anybody was impressed with the DirectX 12 demo that looked like Final Fantasy Advent Children? Like,
Yes.
man, that imagine if
Yes.
games start looking like that.
Yes. And,
Unbelievable.
and HAL 10,000 is DirectX 12 ready. I just have to pull the trigger.
Yeah, the only drawback, because it's like, DirectX 12, it's like, with multiple developers, or multi-console developers that are using DirectX 11, it's gonna be hard for them to switch on over, because with the PS4 it still uses 11. You know what I mean? So for multi-consoles, they're gonna still stay with the 11, but DirectX 12, I really see that the benefits will be from first party and the PC games. But man, that demo looked straight out of Advent Children. I want to see a day where a game can look like a high-paced Advent Children fight scene where I'm controlling it. And we're getting closer. We're getting closer. But yeah.
Well, my issue is, for Gamescom, as a PC gamer master race myself, I was impressed by Dark Souls 3.
Yes.
Mountain Blade 2.
Mm-hmm.
And this Metal Gear Solid 5 looks pretty interesting. That's looking at the trailer.
Well, Ground Zeroes looks great. I mean, if you play it.
And Fable Legends, they're talking about it's not going to be a ghetto PC port. I believe it when I see it. And Star Wars, of course, the inner nerd in me is just doing backflips and everything else.
Okay.
And also Mafia 3. I never was into the Mafia series.
I wanted to talk about fucking Mafia 3.
Well, you know what?
Since I leave that for my fellow.
Well, it is Goken's turn, so Goken, shed some light on Mafia, since
Listen, Mafia was originally like the PC benchmark game, right? When Mafia first came out, and you put when you were playing PC games, and Mafia came out, and you went to somebody's house who had a decent PC or decent graphics card, and you opened that game. It was I'm talking the original Mafia. It probably looked like shit now if you go back and look at it. But actually it won't. It actually looked like a new gen game.
Mm-hmm.
The graphics were insane. The skin, the eyes, the hair, everything about it was amazing. It was like their PC benchmark game, and the violence was pretty good. And it played like a classic game. You were driving those 1920s cars. They drove as slow as they would in real life.
Mm-hmm.
They turned super fast. The game played like a real. It was like real world, right? It wasn't like OD. You're doing 100 miles per hour, doing all this crazy shit. You moved, movement, I guess the physics of the game, and the graphics of the game were amazing. It was the benchmark PC game. And Mafia 2 followed up pretty much same thing. But Mafia 3 now, with all the new stuff, the way it looks is going to be fucking awesome.
Okay. And anything else that stood out in your mind from the conference?
Dark Souls 3 looked fucking really good.
Yes, Dark Souls 3, yes.
Yep, like Playboy said, obviously
Battlefront collect, enables you to progress.
Battlefront is solid. It looks really good. I'm interested to see more of the mass multiplayer. It looks like they're gonna have too much online going on. They're talking about 27 people being able to fight in in the sky, ships flying battle, craziness, pure craziness. So.
Okay.
Those are probably the 3 ones I'm really looking forward to. Of course, Metal Gear. Everyone's looking forward to Metal Gear.
Except me.
Oh, yeah.
That's Nelson's game.
Oh, you true.
And for PC. So. and the fact that they announced that Killer Instinct is coming to Windows 10. I don't know why not just say...
Hold up, say that again?
Killer
Instinct is coming to Windows 10.
Windows 10.
And if you purchase it, whatever you purchase on the one system, it transfers over to the other. The same thing for Fable. From going forward, whatever you have on one will transfer over to the other platform.
My recommendation to Microsoft is just please make this Xbox kind of app on Windows 10. please embrace the fact that Steam owns the shit, like really owns the PC market, and kind of try to integrate well. Because
I heard that's in the works. That's in the works.
Can someone answer this for me?
As much as they can. So.
Okay.
Can someone answer this for me? Okay, with all this Xbox integration, yada yada, etc., can PC gamers play with console gamers? Is that in the cards? Is that
crossplay? Crossplay will be enabled.
Is that available right now?
I don't think it is just yet.
It's available only with Fable Legends that's coming out, and it's also available with a few mobile games that's on the Xbox app. It's not much. It's very minuscule, but Killer Instinct and future titles will open the floodgate for that.
Yeah, but they confirmed it.
When will Killer Instinct come out for PC?
March.
2016 of March.
Okay,
yeah.
that's when I'll upgrade to Windows 10. That should be enough time to work.
Ew, what the heck? Hey, do you know what's funny? There's a viewer or an audience member that was waiting for Killer Instinct to come to the PC.
Me?
No, not you. It's a viewer. Now, put your money where your mouth is. I want to see what you're gonna do. They know who I'm talking about. Enough said. All right.
I'm not bullshitting. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. All right. And I'm gonna give On Your Knees the floor before Nelson wraps up. Your thoughts, if any, for Microsoft with the Xbox? Because I know you don't have one yet, but anything you can add before we close out.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have much. I wasn't even aware Gamescom was going on this week. I've been kind of busy with work and whatnot. But I do have... I tried to say this earlier, but I had the mic problems. Fuck Dark Souls. I'm still salty about them charging for the DirectX 11 upgrade for the last one, so fuck them. I'm not getting it.
What the heck? I'll give you a hug.
Wow. For real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were charging for the DirectX 11 upgrade. Even though I get a discount for owning the 2 games, they're charging for the graphic overall. So fuck.
Oh, wait, how much were they charging?
I think it was $40.
What?
No, it was $40 to buy the whole game. You get, and I think it's like $20 if you have the previous games.
So it's like the price of a regular console game.
Yeah. Yeah, you could buy the game outright, and I think they came with all the DLC. Or if you have everything already, it's a $20 upgrade.
I don't think that's cool if they had to charge you for a graphical upgrade, but you know what? That might be a PSA that you and Goken can talk about. Like if
now that's all news. I talked about that before already.
Okay,
Yeah.
I might not have been here, but okay.
He just wasn't paying attention.
What?
Yeah, like always.
You know I don't know what I'm talking about, but all right.
No, that's right. You have no short-term memory, but we already know that.
Dag.
You know what?
Dag.
I'm not even gonna say nothing. All right.
You just did.
Dag.
Shut up.
All right, and then Nelson, bring us home, man. Your thoughts on Microsoft's presentation and what stood out in your mind?
Honestly, like I'm just gonna be realistic as possible. I'm not trying to be like shitting on anything else, but I only cared for Metal Gear Solid. Everything else had nothing of interest of me. I can give 2 fucks about Scalebound because it just looks like Dante in a big open world. I don't care about that. I definitely don't care about Crackdown 3 because 1 was okay, 2 was shit, and 3 has to do something pretty impressive for me to be like, okay, I'ma get this.
You're gonna get it.
No. Halo 5, I don't need to talk about it because I'm gonna be forced to get it anyways.
You're gonna get it anyway. You're not forced.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be forced because you're gonna be like, come on, Nelson, get on. Trust me.
That's
supposed to be me?
That's gonna be my first Xbox One game in a long time.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
I'm definitely gonna get it.
What was another game that was shown? Tomb Raider. They did show it at Gamescom. It's about 20-something minutes of gameplay footage of like the open world and what you are able to do and stuff like that. So that's just
pretty brutal too. So it's pretty good.
She's killing people in this one.
Let's see what else. If you're talking about Microsoft, the DirectX 12 was really good. The presentation, I actually liked it. Hopefully they can keep it up and give us some time frame of when this will be applied. They did mention something about with that, even though this idea is kind of stupid to me because people should have seen this coming. Games for Gold, if you have a 360 or an Xbox One, but mainly caters to the Xbox One people, any game that they release that comes out for free that's within a backwards catalog of the 360 will be backwards compatible.
So you technically on the Xbox One you'll get 4 games as opposed to, because you're gonna get the backwards compatible version, and then you download it, it's just gonna pop up in your queue. So you're getting 4 games a month going forward. That's crazy.
Yeah,
you know?
But now I'm gonna put this forward. This is just from like, a technical standpoint. Stop releasing backwards catalog games without optimizing them. Gears of War tested it. That shit is worse than what it was on the 360.
How come mine isn't running yet? It says it's still installing.
Well, you need to force it to start then, because mine's is done.
Yo, speaking of Gears of War, they're doing a thing with I think if you buy it by December or something, you get all the Gears.
Yeah, that's a free incentive. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
I already have them all, so
That's
I'm just
very smart of them. Instead of remaking all of them like they did Master Beef Collection.
Yeah.
But again, they need to optimize it, because you can tell there's something severely wrong with like frame rate issues. I mean, I know how the 360 version felt, and I can tell you from a person who played this shit for almost 3.5 years.
Nelson, we'll do a side-by-side comparison, and I know Prototype 2 ran like shit, and they said that it's gonna get fixed.
All right, look, I'll put it like this: the majority of their catalog, except for the Viva Pinata, Keflings, and some of the kitty shit, that is perfectly 100% optimized. Why? Because that's Microsoft picks. The other games were fan picks that we wanted to come back. That's why it's not optimized yet.
But Gears of War is technically a first party under a third party.
I get that, but again, you're talking about something that the company in itself has chosen of its picks, and they put more priority compared to a game that has been voted by us through a feedback form system.
Okay, well, if that's the case, then how come Red Dead Redemption, is that backwards compatible yet? That was the number one.
No, not yet. That was the number 1 game. That was being requested.
Microsoft did say they have to get permission from the developers, so you got to understand, Rockstar has a lot of steam going with Grand Theft Auto. They might not want to lose momentum yet.
Well, that's true too. But give me Guardian Heroes on Xbox One, and not a whole.
They did put Marvel vs. Capcom 3 back up there for you to be able to vote on. Remember, we looked before, Alex. It wasn't up there.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind playing that. You're
not gonna play it, dude. You're not.
Real quick before we leave the subject here, I don't know how y'all feel about the whole thing with them, how they're laying out their games, because if you kind of pay attention to the montage, they showed all their main first party characters with the exception of Lara Croft.
Oh, with the Superman theme in the background.
Yeah. And they kind of laid it out like this holiday season. You got Halo, you got Tomb Raider, you got Forza, you got this and that, and then they're kind of laying out the foundation for next year already. Now, what I'm concerned about, I think it's I kind of think it's smart, but then I kind of think that they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot, and I kind of want to know what y'all think with them. It's too many games, too many exclusives, a bad thing, because when you got all these games coming out all on top of each other like this, and you got the third party games that are coming out too, I'm thinking to myself, do you want to really release, Tomb Raider right now? Do you want to really release Tomb Raider right on top of Fallout and your Halo and your Forza, and you know what I'm saying?
They got to space it out.
That's what I'm saying. And I think that they're doing a little too much. Like I said, I don't want to say too many exclusives is a bad thing, but in this case, it seems like they're kind of diluting their properties right now.
Well,
and there's so many other good games coming out.
Yeah, to respond to that in closing, I see what you're saying. I don't think there's a problem with too many exclusives, because Microsoft needs something to pull the folks in. And there was an article that I had in my notes. I'm glad you brought that up. Microsoft will no longer be seeking out third-party exclusives, in the sense like with Tomb Raider, that might be the last.
Yeah,
it might be the last, because now they're gonna focus on the first party, because the portfolio is so diverse. They're gonna go back into that mode where, unlike Nintendo, they're gonna do 50-50. So now, if you got like EA, you got all those folks who if Sony wants to throw money at them to do all this time DLC and time exclusive stuff, fine. Microsoft's not gonna pay for that no more. You know, because I was talking to Shinwa earlier. I know for a fact that something had to happen with Capcom for Street Fighter V. They might have asked for something that Microsoft just wasn't willing to work with. Okay, hey, we already got Killer Instinct. We're just gonna stick with that, you know, and just focus on their stuff. Although I don't agree because I wanted to play Street Fighter native on the system, but I see where they're going with it because now it's like, hey, we have enough. They got Battletoads, they got the Conqueror, they got all this stuff they can work with, you know. So they're gonna start moving away from buying timed exclusives. So you're gonna see you can't really get away from it. They're going to be pushing a lot of first-party stuff, you know.
And I mean, traditionally with gaming, you know, October, November, and December is when everything drops. And when best to drop your top titles is the holiday season. That's when you typically get to new console. And you got to remember, they already got big games lined up for next year. I think Scalebound comes out next year.
Yeah,
they comes out next year, and
they laid it all out. They laid out the foundation for next year already. Like they had the way that their little montage went. They showed like, you know, this is this year's, and we already got, like you said, Scalebound. You already got Quantum, you know, all these different games that are not for holiday. Quantum Break, I think that's coming out early next year.
Yeah, March.
But they're laying out the foundation for next year already. And like I said, I think it's smart the way that they're doing that with the exclusives. But then I kind of still be like, you know, maybe you want to slow down. Maybe you want to spread those out a little bit more.
Well, that's why Quantum Break is coming out in the spring as opposed to a holiday season. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think that they recognize that. But for the sake of time, we're going to wrap this up.
Damn, you just cut my segments to shit then.
Wait, I don't...
You cut my segments to
you know what?
shit then. No, it's fine. No. I'm done then.
No, I mean...
I'm done then. All right, guys, we're cutting this...
I can't catch a break. Oh, my goodness. Y'all killing me today. Goodness.
We're cutting this short. Please rate, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go to newgamingorder.com for all your latest feed of podcast information, Switch information, and stuff about the panel. And we'll be cutting into the PSA segment, so stay tuned.
Alrighty.